What's up, Celtics Nation? Buckle up, because what we're about to get into might just change the way you're looking at this entire playoff run. There's a shadow hanging over Boston's campaign, and that shadow's name, Jayson Tatum's wrist. Yeah, you heard that, right? While the hype has been all about stats, matchups, and strategies, there's been a silent battle going on, and it's happening on the shooting hand of the Celtics franchise player. Let's rewind a bit. Game 1 of the playoffs. The energy was electric. TD Garden was rocking, fans were all in, and the Celtics looked ready to dominate. But somewhere in the chaos of that opening matchup, Jayson Tatum took a hit that would change the course of this postseason. A bone bruise on his shooting wrist. Sounds minor, right? But don't be fooled. That kind of injury doesn't just vanish after a couple of ice packs and a few days off. It lingers, it nags, and if not handled right, it drags down even the most elite players. Tatum missed Game 2 against the Orlando Magic, and Celtics fans immediately felt that void. But when he came back, man, did he look like himself. Wrapped wrist and all, he was putting up big numbers like nothing happened. Across 4 games against Orlando, Tatum averaged over 31 points, grabbed more than 11 rebounds a night, and dished out over 5 assists. The guy was on fire, hitting around 36% from deep and connecting on half of his 2-point shots. That kind of production? It silenced all the injury concerns, at least on the surface. But here's the thing. Bone bruises don't heal fast. It's not like a simple sprain or a cut that scabs over. We're talking about a deep internal trauma to the bone. Every shot, every rebound, every collision on the court, it's all pressure. And that pressure builds up, especially when the games come in quick succession like they do in the playoffs. So even though Tatum was performing like a beast, there's a real chance he was playing through some serious discomfort, maybe even pain. The kind that doesn't just go away, but instead slowly chips away at your edge. Now fast forward to the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks. All of a sudden, something feels off. This isn't the same Tatum we saw in the first round. Through the first 2 games, he's averaging 18 points, which, let's be honest, is solid for most players, but this is Jayson Tatum we're talking about. The guy's been a scoring machine, a walking 30-point night, and now we're seeing his production nearly cut in half. But that's not even the most concerning part. Take a look at the shooting percentages from beyond the arc. He's hitting just 25% from 2-point range. Barely cracking 31%. That's not a slump. That's a red flag. That's the kind of drop-off that screams, something's not right. We're not just witnessing a cold streak. You don't just go from dominating one series to struggling like this without a real reason behind it. So, what is it? Could it really be that wrist injury from Game 1 of the first round finally catching up to him? Maybe the pain has intensified. Maybe the physical toll of playing every few nights, battling through defenders, crashing the boards, and constantly using that wrist is finally taking its toll. It makes you think maybe we've been watching him grit through this pain all along, hoping it wouldn't get worse, trying to be the leader Boston needs. There's also the Knicks factor. Let's give credit where it's due. That New York defense is no joke. They've got length, physicality, and they don't give up. Easy shots, maybe that's contributing too. Maybe the mix of elite defense and a nagging injury is making Tatum second guess his movements, hesitate on shots, and lose some of that killer instinct we're used to seeing. But even then, something doesn't add up. Tatum's one of the most resilient players in the league. We've seen him bounce back from slumps before. We've seen him go off for 40+ points in must-win situations. So the question we've got to ask is this. If he's not performing at that level right now, is it because he physically can't? And if that's the case, what should the Celtics do? They're in the middle of a brutal series. Every possession matters. Every game could be the difference between a deep run or going home early. And the team is built around Tatum being that superstar, the guy who shows up and carries the squad when it counts. But if he's playing through pain that's limiting his game, maybe the best move isn't to keep pushing. Maybe, though, and I know this might sound crazy, maybe he needs to sit, heal, get back to 100% before stepping back into that spotlight. Because let's face it, a compromised Tatum might hurt the team more than help. If he's out there at 70%, missing shots he normally nails, avoiding contact, and playing more timid than we're used to, that throws off the rhythm for everyone. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Al Horford, they all feed off Tatum's energy. If he's not right, it impacts the whole squad. And right now, Celtics fans are desperate for answers. The team looked like a title contender just weeks ago, but with their superstar suddenly looking human, everything feels up in the air. The momentum is shaky, the confidence is wavering, and the fans are starting to ask the hard questions. Is the risk the real problem? Was it a mistake to bring him back so soon? And most importantly, can Boston still win if Tatum isn't Tatum? Here's where things get real. Because for all the numbers, the stats, the medical speculation, there's something deeper happening, something psychological, something that goes beyond just a sore wrist or a cold shooting night. It's about identity. It's about legacy. It's about how much pressure one player can realistically carry before it starts cracking the foundation of everything a franchise believes in. Jayson Tatum isn't just another all-star. He's the face of his generation of Celtics basketball. He's the guy fans point to when they talk about banners 18, 19, and 20. He's supposed to be the bridge between the past legends and the future greatness. So when he steps on the court, expectations aren't just high, they're astronomical. And that pressure doesn't ease up when things get tough. If anything, it multiplies. Now think about that. Imagine being 20-something years old with the weight of a historic franchise on your back, the city behind you, the spotlight always on you, and then boom, your shooting wrist, the very thing that separates you from being great and being unstoppable, is compromised. But you don't want to sit, you don't want to let your team down. You don't want to give the media or the doubters any reason to question your toughness or your dedication. So what do? You wrap it up, you grit your teeth, and you get out there. You try to play through it. You convince yourself you're fine. And at first it works. The adrenaline, the momentum, the confidence, it all pushes you through. But slowly, game by game, that edge fades. The wrist starts barking a little louder. The shot gets a little flatter. The handle's not as tight. The lift on your jumper isn't quite there. And before you know it, you're in a second round series against a team that's out for blood. And suddenly, every weakness you have is being exposed under the brightest lights. That's the reality Tatum might be facing right now. And let's be real, the Celtics don't have the luxury of time. There's no breather in the playoffs. There's no reset button. If your best player isn't operating at full capacity, you either adapt or you suffer. And Boston's current style of play? It's built around Tatum being that alpha. Every offensive scheme, every defensive rotation, every closing lineup, it's all formed with the assumption that he's going to deliver like a superstar. And when that doesn't happen, the dominoes fall fast. The spacing collapses because defenders don't fear his shot the same way. The tempo shifts because he's not pushing the pace. The team chemistry starts to wobble because roles suddenly change. And the opponents, they sense blood in the water. New York isn't just playing hard. They're playing smart. They're trapping Tatum, forcing the ball out of his hands, daring him to shoot, bumping him every chance they get. And if that wrist is still bothering him, every one of those bumps stings just a bit more. Every three he hesitates to take becomes a win for the Knicks. But here's where it gets tricky. Sitting Tatum isn't just a medical decision. It's a cultural earthquake. You bench your star in the playoffs and you send a message to the team, to the fans, to the league. It says, we're not confident he can lead us right now. That's not something you take lightly. That's the kind of move that can shift momentum, damage morale, even create locker room tension. So the Celtics are stuck in this brutal middle ground. Let him play and risk worsening the injury or sabotaging the team's rhythm. Sit him and risk demoralizing the locker room. And essentially waving a white flag. There's no easy answer. There's no perfect scenario. But one thing is clear, something has to give. And this isn't just about Tatum anymore. This is about leadership. Joe Mazzulla and the coaching staff have to make one of the toughest calls of the season. Do they keep rolling the dice with a limited version of their star, hoping he breaks out of this funk and returns to form just in time? Or do they make the bold decision to rest him, protect his future, and trust that the rest of the roster can step up in his absence? Because let's not forget, this team isn't short on talent. Jaylen Brown is more than capable of carrying the scoring load. Derek White has been one of the most consistent two-way players all season. Al Horford brings leadership and toughness. Malcolm Brogdon, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, these guys can hoop. But all of that only works if there's a clear plan, a clear voice, and a clear direction. And right now, it feels like the Celtics are wobbling between two identities, one with Tatum leading the charge, and one trying to survive while he's less than himself. Fans can sense it. The vibe isn't the same. You watch the bench during timeouts, and it's not the same fire. You see Tatum's body language after missed shots. It's not frustration, it's fatigue. He's exhausted, mentally, physically, emotionally. The guy's been carrying the load for months, and now, when it matters most, his body might be pushing back. And this is where the legacy talk gets real. Because it's in moments like these, the adversity, the doubt, the injury, the criticism, where legends are either made or broken. Tatum's legacy isn't just built on stat lines and regular season accolades. It's built on how he responds when the game punches him in the mouth. Does he rise? Does he adjust? Does he find a new gear, or does he fade under the pressure? That's what every Celtics fan is watching for right now. Not just whether he can hit a few more shots, but whether he can summon the kind of inner fire that turns struggling stars into postseason heroes. Whether he can look pain in the face and say, "You're not stopping me." Or if, just this once, the smarter play is to take a step back, trust his teammates, and heal. There's no shame in that. In fact, there's strength in knowing your limits. Sometimes being a leader means stepping aside when you know you're not at your best so others can rise in your place. But that decision? It's one only Tatum and the Celtics can make. What's clear is this: Boston's playoff hopes are hanging in the balance, not just because of strategy, matchups, or shooting percentages, but because of one wrist, one player, one decision that could shape the course of this franchise's future. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a stunning turn of events, Jayson Tatum, the heart and soul of the Boston Celtics, shocked fans, teammates, and the entire basketball world with an unexpected announcement on social media this week. Tatum, who has been with the Celtics since being drafted by the team in 2017, revealed that he would be leaving Boston at the end of the current NBA season. This bombshell decision has sent shockwaves through the NBA community, leaving many to wonder what led to this dramatic choice and what the future holds for both Tatum and the Celtics. Tatum, a three-time NBA All-Star and a 2022 NBA Finals MVP runner-up, has been a cornerstone of the Celtics lineup for the better part of a decade. His scoring ability, leadership on the court, and impressive defensive skills have made him one of the most respected and admired players in the league. His departure would mark the end of an era for Boston, which has relied heavily on his consistency and skill to remain a championship contender in recent years. While the announcement came as a complete surprise, rumors of Tatum's dissatisfaction with the Celtics' organizational direction had circulated for months. Tensions between Tatum and management have reportedly grown, especially as the team's postseason performances have been inconsistent despite having one of the deepest rosters in the league. The Celtics reached the NBA Finals in 2022 but fell short of capturing the title, and since then, their playoff runs have been marred by frustrating defeats. In his emotional statement, Tatum expressed gratitude toward the fans and the city of Boston, acknowledging the special bond he has formed with the organization and the community over the years. "It's been an honor to wear this jersey and represent Boston," Tatum wrote. "I will forever be grateful for the experiences and memories I've created here. However, after much reflection, I've decided it's time for a new chapter in my career." Tatum's departure is expected to have a massive impact on the Celtics, who will now be faced with the challenge of rebuilding their roster around a new core. Celtics fans are heartbroken, struggling to come to terms with the idea of life without their star player. The team will likely be looking to make major moves in the offseason to fill the void left by Tatum's exit, and it remains to be seen whether they can maintain their championship aspirations in the post-Tatum era. For Tatum, the decision to leave Boston opens up a world of possibilities. He is one of the most sought-after players in the league, and many teams will be lining up to offer him lucrative contracts and potential championship opportunities. Speculation about his next destination has already begun, with teams like the Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, and New York Knicks emerging as possible suitors. Wherever he lands, Tatum's move will undoubtedly reshape the landscape of the NBA and could set the stage for a new era in his storied career. As the season progresses, all eyes will be on Tatum and the Celtics as they navigate the final months of what could be one of the most dramatic off seasons in recent NBA history. Celtics fans for now will hold on to the hope that the team can finish the season strong, while also bracing for the inevitable changes that are coming once Tatum leaves. Regardless of what happens, one thing is clear: Jayson Tatum's legacy in Boston will never be forgotten. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.